Changing a little bit the topic back to the Walter years. I'm just so curious about everything. So you get a client, right? And what are the first steps you start working with them?
Yeah, I love that question. And a lot of people will say that too, like kind of like, what do I get? Like if I sign up, what do I get? Or what is the first step? I think is even a better question. The very first step is our come to Jesus meetings, how I call it. It is the sit down, the hard conversation, but it's one-on-one. It is with me. Phil kind of comes in at the very end. He talks about all things retirement that are over my head, boring, but really important. So Phil will talk about retirement. So as far as that very first step goes, it is the come to Jesus kind of sit down one-on-one. We get all of your finances out. The one thing that it's all done via Google Drives too, which is just amazing. There's so many free resources for entrepreneurs. And so for some people who prefer to do things on their own and then talk to me afterward, if they want to do a Zoom call because they want that face-to-face, if they want to meet up, pre-pandemic was great. There's just so many different ways. I love to individualize this plan because finances is not a one-size-fits-all. It reminds me of if someone is trying to lose weight or get healthy, we all know that we need to eat healthy. We all know that we need to exercise, but you could do Zumba, right? And lose 50 pounds in a week. I have no idea, whatever. And I could do Zumba for 3 months and not lose anything. Our bodies are different. And that's the same exact way that I look at finances is there are some foundations that are absolutely true for everybody to follow, but what you need for your life is going to be very different than what I need for my life. And I love being able to tailor our program for each client. And so in the very beginning, that very first step is we just sit down and they fill out, I always tell them to print out their monthly bank statement. So it gives them an idea. And you would not believe, I think one of the most surprising things for each client is I think every single client has been like, so that's where my money is going. So that's where, and one of the main things that we see is subscriptions. So like, wow, Hulu and ESPN and Disney Plus and Netflix and Ipsy and these things that are like, oh, it's only $8 a month. Oh, it's only $10 a month. And they see that it adds up to being $63 a month. And if they canceled those subscriptions for 4 months, they would have one credit card paid off. It's just amazing. Yeah, it does come down to, I never want to say that this journey is easy because it is not easy, but it is simple. It is simple when you can just kind of grasp it and say like, okay, like and so the section that I have in step one is we have the keep the lights on bills, right? That's the green color. Yeah. You have to pay this, you have to pay your rent, you have to pay your lights, whatnot. And then I have the red section, which is debt, which is ugly, dirty, horrible. And then we have the blue section, which is our negotiables. So that's where like Netflix and things like that can kind of go into. And I'll have people who say, oh, Tessa, I have to get my hair done, every 3 months and it's $160 or whatever else it is. And I say, okay, like that is in your blue column. We will put that up to the green because you're saying like you absolutely have to have that done. But what's really cool is numbers don't lie. And if at the end of all of your green, you can't get your hair done, I don't know what to tell you. We need to find a different lever, we need to find a different lever to pull.
I'm sure I'm sure your clients come to you with one way or another of shame around their debt or around their finances. How do you work around that if you do?
Oh gosh, I just love your podcast and I love these questions so much. I'm gonna I swear just post it like weekly as soon as it's out because I think that everybody thinks that they are going through this alone, that they are the only person struggling with money. They're the only person struggling with putting food on the table. They're the only person living paycheck to paycheck. And, I've been in relationships before and I remember, a serious relationship. And I remember him saying to me, everybody's in debt. Everybody's in debt. Everybody's going to die in debt. And I came from a family who had that same exact mindset is everybody's in debt. So if you want the TV, you might as well just go ahead and put it on a credit card. At least you do it now. Yeah, exactly. Just go ahead and just do it now. And that was my mindset is everybody's in debt. School loans, this is what you do. And then to come to this world and realize that's not how it has to be. I am so thankful for the journey that I've had, because I think that if I was raised in a world where, debt is bad or whatever, I don't think I'd be as relatable. And so I love to share my story, and I love to be vulnerable with my clients and let them know, I understand if you want to pay, like we were saying, if you want to put $160 aside because your hair is that important to you, I hear you, or whatever that might be. People want to spend, however much money on gymnastics for their kids. That's something that's really important to them. They want to make sure that their kids have that kind of lifestyle, but where it just has to kind of weigh out. And being able to help them work through their shame and make them realize at any given time, I have 20 clients that I'm working with, kind of per month. Yeah. So that is, I don't know, however many people that is a year that's working with it. There is one thing that's never going to go away in our beautiful country, and that is problems with money. Because we are just, and that's what it is. So you're not alone. You are definitely a part of the majority when it comes to having issues with money. And honestly, one thing that Tori Dunlap from her first 100K, and one thing that Tori Dunlap will say is, stop telling yourself that you're bad with money. You're not bad with money. You are learning. You are in the process of learning. And I think that's really, really important to understand and to remember, is that you're not bad at this. You're not dumb. Don't blame it on that you weren't taught things. You were learning, and you're going to continue learning. And as I will continue learning, we will continue making financial mistakes. It's going to happen. But to be able to recover from them and kind of have that, again, it goes back to like, sometimes I feel like a personal trainer, as far as like weight loss or something like that goes, because like I said, I had a former client text me recently, and they're in a bit of debt, and they said, I really want to have this $20,000 wedding this year. How can I make that happen? Basically looking for me for validation. And so I said to them, and they're a friend of mine. And so I said, that I love you, and what my answer is going to be. Like, as your personal trainer, what my answer is going to be. I can sit here and have you do CrossFit, and if at the end of the day you want to say, I want to eat 4 Big Macs, if that's a good idea or a bad idea, but you also get to make the decision on if you're going to do that or not. And I'm just here to help you through if you do choose to do it. If you do choose to eat the 4 Big Macs after CrossFit, I don't know. I'm here to hold your hair up when you throw up, because that would be a bad idea.
Yeah, ultimately it is their decision. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. You have to let go too.
Yes. Well, and I think that's a really empowering thing too, to recognize that your finances are in your control. As soon as you recognize that you don't work for money, money can work for you. Yeah. That is really just an important thing to grasp, but it's a journey to get there and to understand.
It is a journey, and it is so close. Again, I want to bring this back to mental health, because I remember being that person. Oh, I'm so bad with money. I'm just going to go on Amazon because there's no hope for me. I'm just so bad with money. And that's the same with, I'm not worth it. I'm not worthy. I'm not lovable. I am alone. All these, quotes that are around there these days, but they are true. And it's a mindset that as soon as you shift the mindset in your head, because now I think I am great with money,
Yes, good. Yes.
And, obviously I even lost my job 3 months ago, but so obviously I'm struggling, but I'm controlling. I am in control of my expenses. I am finding so many tools that are free online as much, but at the end of the day, it's you who's making the decisions.
Yeah. Absolutely. And that was one of the things that when I was creating the Walter Years, I wanted to keep in mind is, when I was $30,000 in debt when I first met my husband, and I had owned my own home before I ever met knew my husband in South Carolina, and I had my master's degree, I had a job that I loved my home, but when I say paycheck to paycheck, I mean I maybe had $50 to my name between paychecks, and that was just insane to me, and it would make me mad because I was doing really good work. I'm working with these kids in foster care. I'm killing it, and I deserve to go to a happy hour and not worry about how I'm paying for it. I deserve to buy this birthday present for myself. I deserve all of these things. And I wasn't wrong, right? Like, as someone who's working as hard as what I was, et cetera, of course you deserve to go to a happy hour and enjoy yourself with your friends and not have a financial burden. But that wasn't my reality at the time. I had a very big financial burden. And so I just continued, and I continued that financial burden by just continuing to put it on my American Express card and just hoping for the best. I don't know what I was hoping for, but yeah, it definitely takes a toll on your mental health and also just on your quality of life.